Hello guys of United Rock Nations. We are an amazing company with Sonny of P.O.D. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
So it's a good pleasure to have you here in France. It's now 4 weeks that you're on the road for the European tour. How the tour is going?
It's going great so far. We did about 4 shows on our own in Ukraine and Kazakhstan. Then we came over, met up with the Alien Art Forum guys and their girls, and we're old friends with Alien guys, you know, and it's been a blast. They're always fun to tour with, and so we all get along very well.
And so many of the gigs of the European tour are sold out. How do you explain this success after all these years?
I think we have loyal fans. You know, I think we're at that end of an era where you know, people still bought music and they came to your shows, and we don't get to come to Europe that often. You know, so it's a treat for us. I think this is the first time we've actually been over twice in 1 year, which is huge for us.
So, of course, you are promoting Circles, the new album, but I have some questions about the story of the band, if you agree with that. I would like to come back 18 years ago, when you recorded Satellite. How was your state of mind when you recorded this album, and did you think that it would be so successful when you were in studio recording this album?
I think we were still kind of in shock that the record before that had done so well. It was our first record on Atlantic Records, our mainstream record, and it went platinum. And so we already had huge opportunity from that point, you know, with big tours and MTV. So we were already kind of on a high already, like, wow, this is happening. But Satellite was a whole nother level, you know. We expected it to do just as well, but, you know, we're a hardworking band. We just keep touring and working. But I think at the time with 9/11 and the Twin Towers, it brought up an emotional state for the entire world, not just the United States, but the entire world. And we happened to be one of those, you know, handful of bands that were saying something worth listening to. You know, it was beyond just entertainment, or it was people were looking for answers, and we happened to be one of those music with our song called Alive, #1 on radio. So people are, you know, at the time are looking for answers, and we just happened to kind of have a little spotlight on us at the time, which was an incredible opportunity and honor for us.
Absolutely. A few years passed, and then Marcos quits the band. There was a departure. How did you live this moment?
It's such a process, you know, because here we are as kids playing music and doing, you know, records on our own, and then signing to a major label, then having success, and then traveling the world, and things were so fast, you know, and things change, you know. They don't know how to act anymore. It's just like this. No one's born knowing what this feels like, you know, and all of a sudden we go from just, you know, these hardworking guys playing in little clubs to, you know, all of a sudden everybody knows you and they care about you. And so, you know, I think if you're not grounded mentally and, you know, just spiritually, you just kind of, you can lose yourself in it. And you see it happen in entertainment all the time. So I think for all of us, we weren't communicating. And then when we kind of went our ways, it was tragedy. It was sad, because it was more than just a band splitting up. It was, you know, we're a family. Exactly. So it was tough. And then at that point, you just kind of get cold and you're like, screw everything, you know, it sucks. And, you know, at the same time, you don't want to be another rock story, you know, bands breaking up, hating each other, and so we're past all that, thank God.
And did you think the band will survive his departure at that time?
Yeah, I believed it did. I mean, we continued to keep touring and to keep putting out records, but also the industry was changing at the time. A lot of stuff were changing. No one's buying records. Everybody, the labels were shrinking, or they were dying off. So, you know, people were more concerned about their jobs than they were bands or putting out music. So it was a learning process for all of us. And I think now, all these years later, you know, we prioritize what is important to us. Is it being on the biggest label in the world? Is it just being a band and being brothers and doing the music we want to do, selling out little clubs and being content with that? You know, it's all kinds of things you deal with. And for us, you know, it's just one day at a time.
And was it easy when Marcos came back 3 years ago after the departure?
Yeah, it was. I don't think everybody really knows the backstory. It wasn't even about him being in the band. Again, it was more about us just rekindling our friendship and saying sorry, you know. And nobody knew that Jason, who had taken us, no one knew that he had already not quit, but he knew that we were going to record a new record, and he knew that would take another 2 years, and he was like, I can't commit to another 2 years, you know. He was taking care of his own stuff. So really, we had no guitar player. And then when all of a sudden Marcos calls us out of the blue and was just like, I miss my friends, and we just started hanging out. And they said, hey, by the way, Jason, he's not going to be playing. It was like, so it wasn't. Again, we just said, well, let's just keep hanging out. It wasn't a big decision. It was just, let's just enjoy hanging out again.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
New metal or alternative metal is again fashionable.
Yeah.
Bands like you, Limp Bizkit, El Nino, Papa Roach are coming back on the highlights. What is your opinion about that?
I mean, before any of these titles were made up, we were doing stuff independently. So we've been called everything. 27 years ago, we weren't called new metal. It was people were still trying to figure out what we sounded like.
Rap metal.
Yeah, rap metal, rap core. It was like, oh, you guys sound like Body Count or Suicidal Tendencies. And then when people knew who Rage was, oh, you guys kind of sound like Rage. And then when Limp Bizkit got popular, oh yeah, it's like Limp Bizkit. So little do people know we were around before them. You know what I mean? But it was just more of a mainstream. And so. Again, I don't care what you call it. We just like making music, that's all.
And talking about the way that this music is more fashionable now than 10 years ago, for example, what do you think about that?
I hope so. I mean, I hope it's coming back. I don't think its stint lasted long enough. I think it got so saturated. I really honestly believe there was only like 2, 3, 4 bands doing it that was authentic with that were really from the streets, or they were from the hip hop culture as well as the rock and metal culture. But once it got trendy and started to become MTV and stuff like that, then everybody started switching over, and then it got so oversaturated that it didn't seem original anymore.
Absolutely.
And then a lot of guys they started changing up their sound because they didn't want to be associated with the rap metal thing. Yeah, exactly. And so, but I think that was the end of an era where music was still had something there. You know what I mean? It was still moving. It was still real. Whereas a lot of music today, it all kind of sounds the same, and it just kind of fits a format, and there's no life to it. So I think that us and Korn and Deftones, I think that was like an end of an era when we really came out and we were ourselves, and we just made music, and everybody still sounded, different. Now everybody kind of sounds the same.
Fantastic. So let's talk about Circles, the new album. What is the state of mind of the band coming back in the studios to record one more album? This is, I think, it's the 11th album of the band. Every time. Album, touring, album. Yeah. What is the state of mind when you come back again on the studio to recording an album?
I think for the last kind of few records, we've kind of been in control of what we do, and there's a cost to that because, like I said, you're not signing to major labels, or you're not dealing with the industry on this certain level. You're kind of saying, well, I don't want to do what you guys are doing, and I don't want you to have control of us. So I guess I'll just be comfortable or be content with doing it in this arena or this space, and it's a gamble because this is a machine, and they just put you through the machine. Here, you really are working for it, and you are building relationships and hoping that people are going to do their jobs. But the only thing that's consistent is the people that actually listen to you. Record labels, they're all liars. In the industry, they're all liars. So the only one that is genuine and is pure is the person that says, I bought a ticket to your show. I'm wearing your T-shirt. I'm here at the concert. I'm looking you in the face, and I know your songs, and I am grateful that you're in France tonight. That's the only thing that's is consistent, So because of that, it gives us, it makes us excited about writing a new record. Not because millions of people are going to buy it like before, but somebody is. Yes. You know, someone's gonna listen to it. You know, even now you meet people and it's like, man, these songs changed my life. They changed my heart. Absolutely. They changed my mind. Absolutely. So it's hard. You know, even when I'm tired, I'm like, oh, I'm excited about going home. I still meet people every night that are like, your music changed my life. And that's the only thing I always say is the only thing that keeps me going on, yes. Because I don't need to prove anything. I don't need to be away from my family any more than I am. I don't need to be in a band. You know what I mean? I love it, but it doesn't define who I am. But when I joined this band 27 years ago, it was because I had it in my heart and mind that what we do and the music we make will change people's life, and it will make people think differently. And 27 years later, it's already been confirmed. Absolutely. So now my question is, how much longer do I do it? Yeah.
We hope the most. So let's talk about some songs of the album. Circles is one of my favorite songs. Tell me more about that song.
I think it really is that, you know, I've met so many people, and now that I'm getting older, you know, everybody has their different journeys of life. And, you know, you look at politics, you look at religion, everybody's got the answers. You know, everybody thinks that this is what you need. You know, this will make you happy. This will make you less depressed. All these things. But it really is just a cycle of life. You know what I mean? So anybody that says that they got it all figured out I think they're lying. We're all going through something, no matter what country you're from, you know, generations to generations, we're all dealing with stuff. And so it's okay to say, I don't have things figured out. You know, it's okay to say, I'm a little confused. You know, and a lot of people I know are addicted to something, or they struggle with certain things. And I think they need to be open with that, and they need to get out of that rut, you know. It's those things that are keeping you spinning in circles until you really get the help that you need. But yeah.
Another song I love a lot is Sound Boy Killer, but it's a very hard and very heavy song. It's one of the heavier of the album. Yeah. Tell me more about that song.
It's just a take again off of my love for reggae music, and it's kind of an old, you know, Jamaican and reggae toast, and you've heard it in songs before, but it's kind of one of those songs like a Boom or other songs we've done where it's kind of saying, even like Rockin' with the Best, we're saying, so the sound boy is the guy who's mixing your sound. It's almost in an arrogant way saying that you can't mix my sound. You know what I mean? You can't. You don't know how to mix my band because we're that good, you know? And so it's a little arrogant. Or when you're talking to somebody, it's, you know, for us, if we're a band, another band, it's like saying my band is better than your band. In a cheeky, funny way, you know? And really with the authority, because I believe that. Absolutely. I don't believe that about myself, but I believe that about the guys that I play with. I believe that they're the best guitar player, best bass player, best drummer. I believe that this band has style that this rock and roll industry still doesn't get. They would rather listen to the same bands over and over again, and they can't dance to it. They can't do nothing. It's just entertainment. This band has style and soul, and I know when you hear P.O.D, you'll say, "Oh, that's that band. That's that band," because we're different. Absolutely. Our nationality, where we come from, the style, you know, the color of the band, everything is different than what your normal cookie cutter rock and roll band is supposed to look like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what are your plans after the European tour?
We'll get to go home for a couple weeks, and then we do a one-off festival in India. We'll do a New Year's Eve gig in El Paso, and then there's already talks about going back to South America, Australia, New Zealand. We'll keep touring the U.S., and then I know in the summertime we're coming back to Europe for a lot of the festivals.
Yes, perhaps Hellfest.
We're trying. We're trying. That's a fun one.
You've been there on 2013.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's right.
2021, we will celebrate 20 years of satellites. Is this something special? Do you think that you will do something special for that?
I think we're already starting to plan and do a tour with strictly playing the record from front to back. Yeah, we already got asked to play Shiprocked in 2021, like a cruise, but they want us to play our satellite record. So we're gonna plan it, and I'm sure we'll probably hopefully head back over here too and just do that. And then the record, really, I think it really only about 50 minutes, 55 minutes. So we'll just play the whole album, and then we'll play other songs.
Other songs, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So thank you very much, Sonny, for all this information about the band, the story of the band, and the new album, and the future of the band.
Yeah.
We'll hope to see you again in France this summer and then later.
Awesome. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
What's up? This is Sonny from the band P.O.D, and you are watching United Rock Nations. Peace.